Hey, recording this video after close trade Thursday 21st June 2012. Well, there we go. Cyclical resistance comes in on the daily chart today, down 2.5%. 2.4 million contracts traded, 13.18's close. And I think it did a pretty good job at telegraphing that we were looking for this cyclical turn to come in with videos on Sunday and Monday. Finally get that. I suppose in retrospect we needed to just work through the FOMC announcement yesterday. Yesterday ended up being a little bit of a doji, kind of long-legged doji type pattern, and then today we kind of get the confirmation. So I'm in two minds. Firstly, I'm feeling pretty, happy with myself. I saw this thing kind of coming out of a, almost 30-point move today. I just took one shot, one kill, 5-point trade first thing in the day. There was a lot more in it. So that's kind of one aspect to this. But the second aspect to this is where this is going. Because we've got a kind of a confirmation of a cyclical turn here, pullback to end of trends, kind of the end of this move up into the 1400s. Now we're kind of coming down, and I've been saying that cyclical turns that are made quickly, and we get strong moves away from them, just like this. Cyclical resistance kind of comes in. We don't hang around long. That's made, and then we move quickly away from it. That means that there's no kind of overshoot like we had here on this end of trend cyclical turn. We're kind of moving down. So we're in a downtrend now, and this is on daily chart, and this is really important. So this is going to, slice through 1250 in my view. I don't know what anybody else is kind of saying out there. Certainly no one was talking about this as a potential turning point over the last few days from when I've been reading the kind of news feeds and so on, but we did get this kind of going down. Now I think this is the beginning of kind of wave 3, Elliott wave 3, kind of on the way down. This was the first leg down. This was a 10% correction move on the way down to here. I'll show you the commitment of traders stock market crash warning indicator. This is another kind of retracement here. So this is 1, 2. This is wave 3, Elliott wave 3 on the way down. Wave 3 is usually the strongest wave, as well as always the strongest wave, and I think we're going to now go to the other side. We're going to go down to a cyclical support on the daily chart. We're going to slice through that, and we're going to move in a pullback to end of trend. So I think this is the beginning of something really big. So look out. If you're holding on to equities, hoping that if you're holding on to your Apple because think the news out of the iPhone 5 is going to be great and that'll be the time to sell, or whatever you're thinking, forget it. We're heading down, and equities is not the place to be holding. The money's been made on the short side, and we'll get big down days and big ranging down days. And in some ways, I've kind of been waiting for this for a very long time, and I think there's some good money to be made on the way down. So I need to get my game head on for the next couple of weeks. In terms of daily chart here, this is continuous contract at ES, so the same kind of picture. There's the resistance level that comes in on the daily chart. Pullback to end of trend, we've had exhaustion, first bearish divergence, flush pattern for the pullback to end of trend sequence. We come down, we kind of bounce back up, and now we've had a flush pattern and a bearish divergence pattern kind of come in and then down. We're on the way down here. And then you look at all the indices charts. So on the Dow chart, resistance came in today, two flush patterns kind of leading up to that turn. Here's the Russell, there it is, cyclical resistance kind of come in there. S&P 500, we had Rambo pattern into that cyclical resistance kind of come in here, and we knew it was happening. We just needed kind of confirmation, because the turn happened on the cycles a couple of days ago. And then NASDAQ, cyclical resistance kind of come in here, we turned away from there. And for me, the biggest signal that we were going to get kind of confirmation today was crude yesterday. Been talking about crude. Crude's been in a strong downtrend. This exhaustion selling on the downside is just getting this move going. We'd had exhaustion on the upside, up here at 110. First bearish divergence, come back flush, and then bang, the professionals you can see selling down this move. They're just getting this thing going. This is the beginning of this move. So when we see the bullish divergence kind of come in, that's just opportunity for a little bit of basing there. And we're in such a strong downtrend on crude, we hardly made any move on the way back up. The correction on this was incredibly weak. We're in a downtrend below cyclical support here, and then with yesterday's activity, you can see another blue professional bar on the way down. The professionals were selling this. And some of the smartest professionals are in the room are the crude professionals. I think the S&P guys, the the indices guys, the Emini guys, the pros there are kind of the most professional guys, but then the crude are also incredibly smart, and they were anticipating this kind of change in mood, and there we go. We got that with yesterday's activity, and then kind of even another kind of strong down day. So that was a real kind of secret signal that this was going to happen today. Aussie dollar got slammed. I mean, we went back up through one parity at one, went to one, just over 1.1. Cyclical resistance kind of come in now. Now we're heading down on the Aussie dollar, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say I'm not actually Australian, but I do live here, and to see our Prime Minister go up at G20 meeting and kind of basically lecture the rest of the world on the good economic policies that the Australians have had, just marked the top in the Aussie dollar here, and I'm embarrassed with what she has to say. We're the tail on the dog being China, and our good fortune happens to have been that the Chinese stimulated their economy and were still willing to pay for our commodity exports. It's got nothing to do with good governance or management on the part of the government in Australia. But anyway, you don't get me started. Aussie dollar, cyclical resistance kind of coming on the daily chart. Euro, same thing, resistance here on the daily chart. We've had a bullish divergence kind of pattern come in, but this is right on the zero line here. So we've got to see a bigger move on the downside, a flush pattern kind of down here. So this is going to go slice through 24, kind of to see where it ends up, but I think it'll move to a proper kind of trend move. Gold. Okay, so gold, been talking about this, a little bit of a double top. We never made it through resistance here. At this level here, we're kind of coming back down. I don't know, everybody's... Remember, if the US dollar is going up, gold will go down. So, and then here's silver. Well, silver, we had last few days talked about this. Pullback to downtrend. Today, big professional down bar through 26s, 27s, kind of getting this move going. So we're going pullback to end of trend here, but we've got to see exhaustion selling on the downside. This was the last ramp up. I mean, we had ramp ups into 50s, but this was the last time the professionals got an opportunity to get out, and this was selling short, kind of getting into this move kind of quickly. We need to see a similar type reading on the way down in order to end this thing. So silver's kind of heading down, and those are going down because US dollar's going up. And then copper, here we go. So bounced off, support becomes resistance, bang, turning away. It's not made a pullback in a downtrend because we're actually in a downtrend at this point. So we're heading down on copper. So there we go. That's kind of the risk on charts, and we've got the reverses on the risk off charts. And again, yesterday's activity, again similar to the crude activity, dollar index here, blue professional bar at cyclical resistance, kind of come in with bullish divergence going on, bang, and we race to the upside. So there's dollar index. I think that's going to keep on going through the highs, and we've been in strong uptrends on the bonds, and we've just been basing settling here. So this is the 30-year chart coming up that cyclical support. That'll come in. I think we're going to race away to new highs here. 5 years, we had the pullback level kind of come in a couple of days ago. We'd had kind of amateur up bar, a little bit of an amateur down bar, kind of just basing here. But look at this, we've got bullish divergence, two signals, first bullish divergence and another bullish divergence right on the zero line, kind of getting going for this move. And then this is the 10-year. So a little bullish divergence patterns coming. Got cyclical support to make here. So this is going to gradually turn and just kind of head back up. So, and then the oscillators. So here's the trend oscillators, and this thing got really overcooked with yesterday's reading. 217 this thing got up to on this reading here. But look at all these bearish divergence patterns, 1, 2, 3, kind of just waiting for that turn to come in. Bang, turn kind of comes in, we kind of head down. So we've got a whole cluster of sell signals kind of come in on the daily charts here. So this thing has got to take profits at some point. But I think it's a fair few days away. We're going to have some really bad news, and as I say, I think we'll slice through 1250, and let's see where this thing goes. And then lastly, so commitment of traders, crash warning indicator on the commitment of traders numbers here. All these bearish divergence signals kind of lining up, bang, bang, bang. Close. So that's the 10% move. I know crash is usually 20%, but just for simplicity's sake, just marking 10% correction moves here. So this is the first leg down. This is the correction wave, wave 2, and we're heading now, I believe, into wave 3. So this will be the strongest wave on the way down. We'll be looking for pullback to end of trend on the daily charts, kind of when we kind of slice through cyclical support on the daily chart, and I think that's a ways away. And yeah, so we might get a little bit of a bounce tomorrow, and this is why we might get some bounces tomorrow. So on the 45-minute chart, we've had kind of exhaustion selling this first move down. We've got cyclical resistance due on the 45-minute chart, and we've come down to this breakdown level. So resistance becomes support. So I'm thinking, we might get a little. we did a big move today, so we could get a little bit of a retracement back up where we put in a cyclical support here or whatever. But I think, you know, on the daily charts, this thing has turned around so strongly that you know, any rallies will be extremely weak, and we'll just kind of head down. And yeah, just on better X trend, so we've come back into this kind of better X trend sitting at 1305, so we're going to maybe just play around this zone before deciding to kind of come through that. So you know, there's a couple of I suppose I'm thinking forward a little bit further, and we've got a little bit of resistance to go through first. We've had this first kind of sign that things are not good, but we will get a little bit of resistance, but I think those will be kind of weak patterns, and we'll just kind of head on through. And the highest time frame tip bar chart, so exhaustion buying, 1350 is kind of up here, pullback. We didn't make pullback to end of trend, wasn't a neat kind of pattern. On the 13,500 tip bar chart was pullback to dirty end of trend. We had all this huge volatility yesterday with FOMC, really tricky trading. It's always going to be tough trading. Best thing on FOMC day is trade maybe the first 45 minutes, try and pick up something and then stop, because it'll just be trading like treacle until we get the announcement, and then huge kind of volatility. I was down 2 points after yesterday's kind of activity, couldn't jump on board. There were no kind of real strong trend moves and so on, but yeah, today was good. We had this kind of lining up first thing in the day, so coming up to 1350 we had exhaustion buying, first bearish divergence kind of comes in here, and we sink away here. So on the 13,500 tip bar chart we're in a strong downtrend. We've got to make pullback to end of trend before this thing is over, and on the 4,500 tip bar chart again you can see the activity lining up after yesterday's close. Bearish divergence, we had exhaustion buying, bearish divergence kind of comes in here. We've got all these blue professional bars kind of come in at the beginning of the day here, and we just sell off. This thing didn't hold the first time, pullback to end of trend. We've got exhaustion selling on the downside here, and we just kind of kept on going through here, so we've got to make pullback to end of trend. In terms of my day trading, this was the setup, 1500 tip bar chart. This is the open here. Coming into the open, so we'd had yesterday's activity, we had exhaustion buying, end of trend signal. We kind of just had these wide ranges overnight. But then coming into the news releases this morning, we had all these blue professional bars taking profits on the way up here, come back up again, whole cluster here. Kind of a gathering here, and then come back into a Rambo pattern. Amateurs kind of buying that breakout, exhaustion buying at that point. First bearish divergence kind of comes in here, pull back to end of trend. I mean, it was picture perfect, kind of classic. Let's get short here. So I was short at 50.75 as soon as we broke the low of that amateur bar. That was a little amateur up bar there. Got short at that point there. Bang, rode this thing down. Movement target out to 5 points, out with one shot, one kill. So I was quite happy with that. But you know, as everybody knows, this thing just kind of kept on going. So there was another 30 points in it, but you know, that was, I don't know, about 12:30, 1 a.m. For me. So time to go to my bed. Hope you traded it well, and like I say, I think this is the beginning of something kind of bigger. So you know, if you're holding onto equities, I don't know. I just don't think that's a safe place to be right now. I think there's going to be money to be made, big money to be made on the downside, and I think in my head I've been kind of preparing for this for a long time, for at least 6 or 9 months, kind of waiting for this kind of next kind of 2008 type correction move, and I think today's activity was the first. And the reason for it, I mean, just kind of to harp on back at this, so the reason for this is we come into cyclical resistance. We got no overshoot here. The overshoot happened on the downside, and then we come back to a resistance level, and we move swiftly. It gets printed, and we move swiftly away from it. No overshoot, big ranging bar, big volume down bar, moving away from that. We are now in a downtrend, and therefore that means we've got to go to make another kind of cyclical support, punch through that, make pullback to end of trend. So this time we kind of overshot it, came back to that cyclical resistance level there. Now we got to see something like this on the downside, and flip reverse of that pattern, pullback to end of trend on the daily chart. So, and I think that's going to be a long way from here. So let's see. I'm short 50.75. Short 50.75. The reason for getting short, 1500 tip bar chart, we're kind of finding it difficult to get through 52s up here. We have blue professional bars. Yesterday we finished off pullback to end of trend, exhaustion, selling signal. We kind of sold off, come back to test kind of pre-open, Blue professional bars all the way up at the tops and pull back to end of trend with exhaustion buying. And then just after the open we had a bearish divergence. First bearish divergence comes in, and a little amateur up bar. It's breaking down nicely. This little amateur rise up here, amateur rise here. So we're breaking through support on the 500 tip bar chart and the 1500 here. Blue professional bars kind of coming in here. That might be falling through the ice. So let's see if we go for a little bit of a run to the downside, somewhere picking up on support on the 4500 tip bar chart. So short 50.75. Just moving my target to 45.75, just because I might get lucky. This might turn into a bit of a runner. Okay, exhaustion selling just gone off. That was about a 9,000 already on better momentum. Blue professional bar kind of coming in, but it was on the rise. So that's not really a pro signal exit. It's not like a left shoulder kind of move, pull back to end of trend. So you got kind of really just bouncing off this technical kind of level pre the open, which was resistance becomes support. So hopefully when we come back through it, we'll kind of break through it and go for a real spin to the downside. Got to be looking for at least pullback to end of trend on the 500 tip bar chart, coinciding with support for an initial target. Anyway, so 45.75 is the target. Blue professional down bar here. So let's see if we kind of get going, gather a little bit of speed, sell off a little bit. We got data releases at 9, so it'll get quiet the 10 minutes before that. But let's see if we've got another 8 minutes to go that we can get down. Another blue professional bar kind of coming in here at the lows. Okay, so I've got to watch this to see if that was really kind of selling this move down, or they're really starting to pick this up down here. So let's just wait and see. Here we go, we're running a little bit faster. We've just kind of broken down through the 48s into 47.25. Let's kind of keep going here. Not seeing exhaustion selling on the downside on 500 tip bar chart, but if we continue to lose it like that, we will. Well, we got within a quarter point of the initial target here, and then rainbow patterns and amateur down bars, and that's why we're bouncing from here. First bullish divergence coming on the 1500 tip bar chart, but at some point we've got to make pullback to end of trend. We're at 8:49 AM, so we got this existing home sales number coming out in 5 minutes time. Got all these blue professional bars, so potentially we make just pull back to end of trend. I'm just thinking about whether I pull my target into 46.75, the initial one, just hope for a little bit of a spike down before the number comes out, or do I hold through the number and just hope for it to be bad and we kind of sell off and get hit on the sell off. So there's pullback come in, there's amateur down bar again, might get lucky and come through to 46s, but it's just holding. You don't tend to get a lot of volatility pre the number. It'll just kind of sit in base, but just wait and see. We've got this energy, so we're going to 47s again. We've got to see some kind of exhaustion selling on the downside. Not seen anything to mimic that from the sell-off kind of up at 52s, so we've got to see that, at least that on the 500. We've got all these amateur down bars, just finding it difficult. The amateurs are trying to sell it, so it should travel, but let's just wait and see. Okay, so end of trend's just gone off here, but we haven't seen that exhaustion selling, although this was Rambo kind of down here. Pull back to end of trend coinciding, so trend move coinciding with a cycle support going on to 45, so just want this to come back down, go through 47s. Okay, well we came up to a resistance level on the 500 tip bar chart. Blue professional bar kind of comes in with exhaustion buying and Rambo pattern here, so blue professional bars kind of coming in, hoping for this to kind of come back down, pull back to end of trend on the 1500. Like I said, I haven't seen exhaustion selling on the downside on 500, so you got to see that to end a move. But if it spikes to 50, I'll just get out with whatever I can, hoping this will just come back to 8:55 AM. So here we go, we're kind of breaking through the back down to the lows. Blue professional bar breaking the lows of that, kind of coming down. This kind of data's kind of bursting a little bit here, so it looks like we're going to break the lows. Hopefully, go for a little bit of a spin. So 45.75 still hanging out for. Not going to bring in my target. Okay, I'm at a down bar there at that point. Cyclical support kind of due, but we've not seen anything on blue professional bar on 45 kind of heading down. Let's hope for a little bit of volatility just to spike down. So just taken out. That was nerve-wracking. We kind of came back up. I was just thinking if this spikes through 49, I'll just try and dump it, but there we go. The volatility came out at 45.75 on that target. Probably be more to go. We haven't seen exhaustion selling on the downside on 500 yet, or another pro signal exit, although that is a blue professional bar kind of coming down here. 4.5, so it was good. Short at 50.75 out of 45.75. And let's see where this goes. So pullback to end of trend, exhaustion, buying, bearish divergence comes in. Got our first kind of leg down, but it's not as if that was like a left shoulder there. That was kind of really just getting this move going. So maybe this is a down day. I was thinking might take us into another kind of move. So kind of blue professional bars falling through the ice here. Maybe that'll kind of keep going on the higher time frames. We're trying to make on the 40,500 tip, which I actually haven't noticed that this morning. I haven't looked at this chart yet. So pullback to end of trend they're trying to make here, but exhaustion buying has kind of come in. So that's interesting. Finally on this chart that's kind of come good, and then 13,500 exhaustion buying, bearish divergence kind of rolling over here, and then the 4,500. So let's see. Probably be another opportunity to do another trade. But I'm quite last 2 days pretty rough for me, so be out one shot, one kill with 5 points is nice. So I might sit on my hands, but keep watching it for a while and see.